this big suit. The fund I manage is called Blackstone. Actually, scratch that. Subscriber Stone Capital. And anyways, a bunch of wealthy people recently gave me a lot of money. And my job is to buy businesses, make them more valuable, and sell them in the next 5 to 7 years. So with the clock already running, the pressure was already on to deliver. But the problem is, big returns only exist in places that nobody else has risked going to before. And right now, all the obvious targets are taken. Manufacturing, healthcare, logistics, and retail. Because there's been so much private equity activity over the last few years that the big firms have already bought most of it. So as a newer fund manager on the block, I had to find an industry that the big guys haven't figured out yet. And if I wanted to make a name for myself, I was going to have to get creative and lock in. But where would I even start? And so just as I was able to lock in and, put on my favorite playlist, it hit me. The next investment was staring me right in my face. A platform that now has more TV streaming hours than Netflix, a platform called YouTube.com. So over the next few days, I furiously started doing research on my next channel. And after looking through every niche and crevice of this website, I may have just found the one.
Something new.
So let me walk you through how I, as private equity, exactly would identify the perfect fit. So thank you for joining Subscriber Stone Investors. For today's meeting, I have 3 criteria on why we need to invest in this.
We have reasonable.
First and foremost is this channel has a proof of concept. This channel has predictable revenue every single month from AdSense, and this channel probably has a tiny team. Let's just say probably around 5 to 6 people with low overhead. But this brings me exactly to number 2, which is potential. So as you can see here, this channel has inconsistent views, but it has a loyal audience. So as long as we find the right topics and format, this can be something we can grow into. Third, running out of time, so I'll tell you about it later on in a different meeting. So anyways, even without that third criteria, you can start to see what private equity firms are looking for when they decide what channels to invest in. But here's why we've only seen the beginning of this. Because after crunching the numbers, let's say I found this Gen channel $1 million a year. And in any other industry, a business doing $1 million a year with margins like this would cost me a fortune to invest in. With YouTube channels, I come to find out that they sell to 3 to 5 times their annual earnings, but what I can sell it for is a completely different number. But before I get to that, I had a problem. Because when my boomer boss has never even heard of Mr. Beast, he came from this world of spending $500 million on a single hospital, how was I going to pitch him this opportunity? Now, after some convincing, he reluctantly agreed, but now the pressure was really on. If it all goes wrong, I'm cooked. Now my job was on the line and I was stressed. Maybe this was a dumb idea. What am I even doing? I should have just invested in another hospital. But then I remember something a wise man once told me.
Off with you.
Just do it!
And that's when I realized I had to go all in. Because just buying one channel isn't the play. The play was something much bigger. So I bought 9 more similar channels for a similar price. Here's where the math gets really interesting. What I do next is to combine all 10 into one company in what's known in the private equity world as a roll-up. And what it unlocks is a few things, one being greater efficiencies. Now the same legal team handles all the contracts, same person negotiates every brand deal, and the same thumbnail testing operation, accounting, and compliance. It's exactly what private equity has been doing for years with hospitals, but the biggest unlock is what this now means for me and my investors. Because remember, I bought each channel for 3 to 5 times its earnings. But after this roll up into my portfolio, as a whole, this now sells for 12 to 20 times earnings. So without making any of the channels better, just by buying them, putting them under one roof, the valuation is now 20 times more. It's exactly how I make a shit ton of money, and it's the power of multiple arbitrage. So a few years pass, and now my boomer boss is happy, and he can't stop bragging to his friends about how much money he's making from this site called YouTube.com. The problem is, I still haven't paid back any of my investors. We're at year 4 now, but remember, our fund's investors are expecting returns by year 5 and 7. So the clock was starting to run out. So now it wasn't just about locking in, I have to make money. So now it's all about optimization. That extra day that we used to give to make those videos, we better or cut. No, we want more videos per week. Let's also optimize content strategy. Those videos that the creator thinks that is interesting, who cares? Those need to be under strict questioning now. Instead, what we need to be doing are videos that are proven to perform. That's the priority. And just like that, similar videos are now starting to get put out week over week. And we're pumping them out like a content factory. And audiences are slowly starting to notice that something is a bit off in the comments, but who cares? We're here to make money now, and if I want to maximize profits, I have to eliminate these risks. The biggest risk is staring right at my face here. Gen here may have been the one that built his channel from the ground up, but if the whole channel depends on just Gen and he burns out or gets sick or decides to leave, this asset stops becoming worth anything. I can't have that happen. It's what's called a key man risk, and there is no way in hell I'm gonna lose out on my investment because of Gen. So I start hiring new hosts that happen to be slightly more attractive and taller than Gen, and they slowly start getting introduced. And now that we have more hosts, we can start launching more channels like Gen Plus. And since we're now pumping out videos every day, it's too expensive to hire a creative director, so scripts start getting approved by AI to make sure it's brand friendly and it's at least good enough to go before film. And weeks pass, and now the channel slowly becomes something that could keep running without the person who built it. The thing is, comments now really start noticing. And some now even start commenting that this is the last Gen video that they'll watch. But here's the part that matters and why no one has told you about this.
More visitors
the FTC
have
updated
arrived
their
in the
endorsement
town
rules in
center.
2023
Let's give
that if
them
a
a
creator gets
warm
paid to
reception.
promote a product, they have to tell you exactly like you see on this video. But if a private equity firm buys that creator's entire channel, even if every video they make going forward is produced inside a portfolio being managed toward a financial exit, the creator doesn't have to say anything. And that hush hush is exactly what allows any of this to even work. Because here at Subscriber Stone Capital, what I didn't tell you is we do businesses with these creators in two ways. Either we own it outright 100% or a majority stake acquisition of 50 to 80% where the original creator remains. And we actually prefer those deals because now the creator also becomes a shareholder in Subscriber Stone Capital. Okay, but why do we do that? Well, oh, time's up. Sorry. Anyways, well, when their financial interest is now aligned with mine, he or she is going to damn well make sure he's going to keep cranking out videos. But more importantly, he or she is going to damn well make sure to not tell you, the audience, that he or she was owned by me all along. Because we both know how that will go, right? By aligning our incentives and having stakes in each other's companies, now the creator is handcuffed because at the end of the day, we both want the exit to go well, right? So it seems like I was joking, but the thing is, none of that was even a bit. Like, yeah, Subscriber Stone Capital is fake as shit, but it's similar to what actual private equity firms that bought your favorite channels have been doing for the last 5 years. And a few main players are increasingly driving up all of the deal flow. And it's not just happening to YouTube. The same dynamic is playing out everywhere online. Platforms that seem free are really just collecting everything about you and selling it to whoever will pay, like your inbox, your habits, and your behavior over time. And all of it is becoming an asset on someone else's balance sheet. That's where today's sponsor, Proton Mail, comes in. It's a private email service built on the idea that your data belongs to you and nobody else. And recently, they've announced their Born Private campaign, which lies on a simple belief that digital privacy should be the default for everyone and not a privilege. Unlike traditional big tech email providers, this just gives you a truly clean inbox. There's no tracking, no scanning, and no intrusive ads competing for your attention, and your emails aren't monetized or mined for data. Everything is end-to-end encrypted, which means only you and the person you're emailing can actually read it. If you want a safer alternative to regular email and protect your digital identity from day one, go to proton.me/bp/gen to try Proton Mail for free. So now let's talk about which channels have actually been bought and the few players behind them all. And look, some of these names are going to surprise you, but the bigger surprise might be where that money is going, where it's coming from. So we'll be looking at three main players and their portfolio, but why not start with the first and the biggest, Electrified Video Partners. Based in London with $135 million raised and backed by another private equity firm called Capital D, they've been buying up a bunch of channels over the last 5 years. And you'll definitely recognize at least one of them. From Fireship, which is a coding education, Simple History, history animation, Improvement Pill, self-improvement, and this one really surprised me, Fern, that amazing documentary channel, but the biggest and most significant one is Veritasium. Ran by Derek Muller, Electrify became the majority owner and took over hiring, logistics, compliance, taxes in a deal that allowed Muller to stay on as co-owner on his 20 million subscriber channel.
They would take care of things like hiring, production, logistics.
And this deal was actually announced a few years ago in April 2023. But hold on, take a look at that date. The deal closed in 2023, but he didn't directly tell his audience on YouTube until Christmas Eve of 2025. So why did he wait? Well, I imagine it's because they knew exactly how people would react. Oh, and I say they because he also became a shareholder in Electrify itself.
I signed a deal in April 2023, and since then, Veritasium has been owned and run by me and Electrify.
So obviously his financial interest
The magic
is
of Quel'Thalas
also aligned
belongs to
with
the Sin'dorei.
firm's eventual
Remind
exit. But to be
these
fair, it was
snakes
also a
they are no
smart
longer
business
welcome
by
here.
keeping it low key and then going on to create 3 of the channel's most watched videos ever, and subscriber counts continue to grow by 50% by showing that nothing has changed and then announcing it. There's not much things that an audience could say, and especially if Muller is still there and the videos are still quality. If we look at just the numbers, Electrify did make Veritasium better. So the important nuance here is that private equity takeover of a channel doesn't automatically equal bad, but you know by now that if every deal looked like this, there'd be no video. Because remember what I said earlier about Keyman Risk, which is a perfect transition to our second player,
The Twilight's
Lunar X,
Blade are
which was
attempting to
specifically
reclaim
launched by
Deathhold,
former
root them
KKR
out,
executives
and
to
destroy
invest
their
in digital
encampment.
first media brands. And they made a splash onto this scene in 2022 by acquiring The Game Theorist with 40 million plus combined subscribers across their 5 channels. And similar to Veritasium's Derek, the sale was framed as this thing that would let MatPat, the guy who built it, to finally be able to step back.
On March 9th, I will be hosting my last Theory episode.
The deal was that MatPat would handle the creative direction behind the scenes and Lunar X would handle all the boring business stuff. And since MatPat has officially stepped away from the camera, on the surface, it actually seems like a success. They gained 1 million new subscribers across all 5 channels, but the revenue tells a different story. Estimated monthly earnings has dropped 70% from roughly 52,000 in March 2024 to around 13,000 to 17,000 by February 2026. So what this tells you is that once the key man has removed himself from camera, the loyal audience also went away with it. Now, it remains to be seen if they will recover, but for some, they didn't even get that luxury. Which leads us to our third and final player, Recurrent Ventures. Oh, and they raised $300 million from our favorite private equity firm, Blackstone. Their portfolio is huge, from Task and Purpose to even Popular Science, but their most important acquisition is Donut Media. Founded in 2015, these 4 guys built a cult following around automotive content with their 5.9 million subscriber channel. So it's no surprise that Recurrent Ventures was all over this to acquire and they successfully did so. The big promise of this $300 million.
Stay here and recover.
Recurrent started losing business. Higher cost of portfolio, spending more revenue from product reviews, and when economics deteriorated, they successfully cut costs. And even though what didn't sound a little bit corny was that magic great. Less than 3 years after acquisition, 3 of the 4 guys all departed within weeks of each other, and so did the audience. Because 2 of the hosts launched their own independent channel, Big Time and Speed, and just within a matter of weeks, crossed 1.6 million combined subscribers. So with all these different things, and right now it's showing more of that good. What's interesting to see though is that when you look at the channels that they're targeting, it starts to kind of make sense. Take a look at that acquisition. Potassium, Firescape, high-value niches like finance and science. And this matters a lot because a regular TV ad around these niches costs around $10 to $15 to reach 1,000 people. But with YouTube, in one of these niches, it can cost $50 per 1,000. Again, it goes back to advertisers not just paying for impressions, but they're paying for that trust. It's not the reason that subscriber stone capital would go after a channel like Gen, because if I had to guess, you watching probably have more recipients income than someone regularly watching slot payment. But turns out, even that is just the biggest thing when you talk about it, it has nothing to do with education. It has everything to do with You have kids or
I wouldn't cross
weird. You know exactly what this is. But also, it's probably more weird than you've heard of them, considering that they're the second most subscribed but in November 2021, Disney backed again by Blackstone acquired
now struck.
and what they built with that money is a system that literally tracks second by second when a toddler stops paying attention.
Stay here and recover.
By figuring out the exact moment a 2-year-old looks away, they can engineer every
I'm out.
video to make sure that never happens. The point is, it's not just private equity. This audience is who know nothing other than to press play.
Your pain.
As long as those kids keep watching and begging their parents to buy the latest Nintendo game, the thing is, every deal that
Gather yourself.
collective investment has now reached $4 million is probably a lot more.
It's not ready yet.
Again, this family. But before I reveal that to you, we have to talk about it. Because everything I talk about isn't just about
Take strength from
matter of fact,
this.
all this even goes beyond money. This means to trust that the next generation of our future. I think that's happened all. And again, we already saw the creator trust
My eye found you.
politics. During the 2024 election, Trump sat down with Joe Rogan, Ross, Mel Boys, and LeBron, and dozens of creators, both boomers and big heads.
President Trump back on the podcast is that
I've said that for the last chance. Since you win, the country's finished.
His appearance on Rogan hours, and during his victory speech, Dana White got on
I'll
stage
start
and
the
became
bleed.
content creator. Among listeners who said podcasts increased the vote, 54% went for it. I'm going with this here. Private so if that's already what's stopping a private equity firm
Don't
from
wait.
acquiring medical commentary channels and steering their editorial? Who would pass on? There's currently no rule against it. Right now, when an influencer is required to do some news network, plus the audience trusts them more, and like we established, when a creator doesn't have to disclose what private equity firm they're owned by, it really becomes a no-brainer on both sides. And so remember that
Gather yourself.
subscriber stone investor meeting? That third criteria I'm sure private equity firms consider is how much the channel value. I can tell you from experience, I've gotten offers for this channel that I can't fully disclose. But what I can tell you is that when those conversations happen, the first thing that gets discussed is a short and list of topics that you're not allowed to touch anymore. So really think about where all this is heading. We stopped trusting the banks after 2008. We stopped trusting the government a long time ago. We stopped
I
trusting
cannot use that.
how it's that trust has been but at the same time, what 80% says the biggest trust killer is when influencers reveal themselves as not genuine or transparent, unlike the other institutions we name that offer this relationship is set up. What we're now beginning to see is that it's not just private equity, but the largest companies that are making their way into one of the last institutions that sort of trust. As I was mentioning, OpenAI just launched live-stream talk show that's like the sports center of the technology.
A core part of this is editorial independence. We can say whatever we want because why? We don't need to run anything through anything.
Well, see about that. The reports are saying that the deal is somewhere near $100 million. We'll see how much independence that truly means. Whether this is the beginning of the end, one thing is for certain. Within the next 10 to 15 minutes,
Gather yourself.
president and he or she is. When that happens, the
I'm
question
out.
won't be whether they're qualified. The question you need to think about is, so I'll be getting even deeper into the next week for my free newsletter and video. If you don't want to join the special 2,800 of you, or would rather watch how private equity isn't just breaking your favorite YouTube channel, but potentially the
Pleasure is Now I need to get closer. My loyalty for my own.
You may have seen this viral mini show on social media weeks ago, or even noticed one of the 11 new stores that opened in the US in 2024. In a saturated retail market, Japanese Uniqlo is an outlet. In fiscal year 2014, the company's international business brought in $2 billion. 10 years later, that number reached $9
essential basics that are timeless, the kind of things that you can have in your closet regardless of what's going on with trends.
Actually, initially launching in 2005 and shutting down last year, the international segment has brought in 20% in operating profits over the past 3 years. In its most recent quarter, the company's operating profits rose to just under $1 billion and maintained its forecast for the fourth consecutive year of record earnings. However, sales growth in China declined due to what parent company Fast Retail had sold this unseasoned unit to others. In 2021, it became the most valuable clothing company in America. As of building in 2025, Uniqlo is the second largest, following Zara on Inditex. CNBC took a closer look at Uniqlo to learn more about the Quad retailer's success, how it differentiates itself from competitors, and see why CEO Tadashi Yanai considers the brand technical and fashion.
Die like them!
Uniqlo opened its first store in Hiroshima, Japan in 1984. It was originally called Unique Clothing Warehouse, as the parent company, originally named One Shop Before Shoji, now Fast Retail, is one of Japan's biggest retailers. It owns a total of 9 brands, including Line, Theory, J-Brand, and G-Wu. 2000 was a breakthrough year for the company. Its 1900 yen price of marketing, which at the time was quickly about $15, was a massive success. It sold 2 million units in 1998, 8.5 million in 1999, and 20 million in 2000. Overall sales grew 459% between 1997 and 2001, which led to its global expansion, first in London, then Shanghai. Uniqlo then opened its first US store in 2005 in New Jersey, but problems like low brand recognition and weak differentiation caused it to shutter its stores in the year. The brand was back in the US in 2012. It plans to reach more than 200 stores in North America by 2027, nearly tripling its current store count. Fast Retailing CEO Tadashi Yanai is now Japan's richest person with a net worth of $44.6 billion. Yanai unseated SoftBank leader Masayoshi Son as the country's wealthiest in 2015. Fast forward to today, in just the last 4 years, its international business has largely outpaced its domestic. Uniqlo turned the phone into its minimalistic, durable, and functional style. The store very much displayed the aesthetic.
Increasingly over the last 20 years, but maybe in particular the last 10 years, have been very fit for our times. And what do I mean by that? They provide functional basics, decent design, uncluttered stores, a color palette that kind of probably speaks to most of us.
It kind of operates in its own little world because retailers have been kind of trained to respond to the latest trends very quickly. And of course that works, and there's always going to be a customer for those types of stores. But to find a retailer that's just focused on the everyday essentials and offering you every color and fit of those everyday essentials, then they are in a league of their own.
Its Heattech and Airism lines have become the company's staples. The Heattech collection exceeded 1.5 billion in cumulative unit sales through 2022, 19 years after the brand launched the collection. Airism, once called Silky Dry for men and Seraphine for women, has done well for the brand too.
We've all been there where we're wearing something in the summer, a cotton t-shirt or cotton pants that are just making us sweat. They're heavy. You're not wicking away moisture. It's not breathable. Uniqlo has an offering for people like that. It solves that pain point, which is one of the reasons why it's been such a winner.
The company says product launches are based on a deep focus on customer feedback. During a November presentation, the company highlighted this two-way communication, where consumers asked for a sweater that didn't itch. Uniqlo responded by developing souffle yarn knitwear. It's become a favorite.
Uniqlo is a very customer-centric organization. It listens very actively to customers, whether it be via social media, via feedback surveys, or indeed by people talking to associates in stores. It gathers all of that feedback and it really implements that in terms of how it designs products, how it comes up with new iterations. And that's really important for Uniqlo.
Uniqlo excels at the in-store experience. Walking through a location, it's clear the company places a priority on cleanliness and order. The in-store experience garnered enough attention that the Chicago location received the Business Impact of the Year award from Chicago's Magnificent Mile Association, one of the area's most active business associations. The Japanese retailer has since closed the store. It has another location a mile away.
The in-store experience is a primary marketing channel in itself because, in fact, you don't see much marketing outside the stores.
Data shows that 72% of consumers still shop in-store over online. So the idea of making your store the main marketing channel is something many retailers are emphasizing, including Uniqlo.
When you enter into a Uniqlo store, you're obviously captivated by the large windows. It's also very bright. It comes what we call the very modern lighting retail. But the stores are also very uncluttered. They are easily divided between genders, between seasons, between what items you're gonna get at. Everyone is friendly. There's no boxes flying around in the aisles, and it's not too complicated to go into a Uniqlo store.
Uniqlo uses RFID technology or radio frequency identification as part of the checkout process. It allows customers to pay for items without any scanning. No tags, no barcodes, a streamlined process.
When you go to Uniqlo stores, you notice a lot of innovations, things that set it apart from other retailers. For example, when you go to the checkout at a lot of their stores, you don't necessarily need a cashier to ring up every individual item. They have these bins where you can put all of your clothes into one bin and it automatically reads QR codes that are in the tags, and it just automatically knows every single item that you have in there.
H&M and Zara are some other retailers that have adopted such technology. RFID tech as a whole has been around for a while, but advances in the technology have increased retail adoption. 93% of retailers are using the radio frequency tech in some fashion. Local activations is another emphasis of Uniqlo's.
The Uniqlo experience that I would expect to have in Barcelona, in Tokyo, or New York City, it has to be all in all the same thing. But obviously when you have a local face showing up in the store or in activation campaigns, I, as a Chinese, as an American, I feel that the brand speaks to me and it's kind of understand my culture, and that's what you need to do.
Uniqlo stores sell clothing made by local artists and businesses.
Uniqlo is very good at localness, and most of the products are international. They sell across the world. But there is a fraction of them that they change up from store to store, and they make sure that there is a local flavor. Now, that's important because tastes can vary locally, but it's also important because it makes the stores feel very grounded and very relevant to each.
The terrace holds what we require to gain entry to the Void Storm, the Cynosure of Twilight.
How may I be of service?
The terrace holds what we require to gain entry to the Void Storm, the Cynosure of Twilight.
It's not ready. out of range.
You were warned, Umbric. The terrace is forever closed to you. Now leave before...
Of course he left a message for me. I'm afraid you'll have to incapacitate the guards. I have a few items I'd like to pick up while we're here. I'll meet you at the exit. Oh, and beware of the librarians. Knowledge tends to pack a punch in these halls.
It is too far away. I need to target something first. Your survival wasn't necessary. I need to get closer.
How I...
These new defenses were specially made with you in mind.
I seem to be detained. The construct ahead is heightening Rama's spellwork. Destroy it!
I'm out of range. Your survival wasn't necessary. Ah, I could use your expertise.
punches, lucky doos, and loot. Beware of ya.
Honoria Shola. Rito?
It is too bad.
This area is compromised. It is vital to our mission that you secure it.
Interceptor.
Alright, let's continue the mission as is. It's in the way. Hit this guy. Aim, I'm counting on you. Go for it. I got it. Now, destroy it. It's going to be slashed. There it is. I found it. Destroy it. Hit it.
Lothraxion, give up this foolishness! We have already won!
You put all of Silvermoon in danger! This isn't worth the risk! There seem to be a few pieces missing. We have to find them if we're going to stop Lothraxion.
I'll only show you the failure before I...
Hurry up those repairs! If we aren't careful, that will be all of us!
I'm out of range. I need a target. first. I need to get closer.
More of you mindless intruders! Stay away from my work! A good Korite always has his tools! A good Korite always has his tools! My power output is peaking! A good Korite always has his tools! This is but another prototype! My power output is peaking! A good Korite! I expected you to be better! A good Korite always has his tools! My power output is peaking! My job!
Don't forget to send the conduits.
You will realize I was right, Illyria. Your judgment has been clouded by the Void, as it always does.
My vision has never been clearer, Lothraxian, but I don't want to believe it.
wish you had lasted a little longer.
It's not ready yet. I'm out of range.
What a miserable display! You have all failed in your purpose!
I cannot use anything.
Is there no end to you intruders? Do us a favor and die, before I kill you myself!
I need this. far away.
Disappoint me again!
I need to get closer.
Yet another iron from the last one. There will be no end. Eliminate these intruders or be devoured. No end to your suffering. Still fertile by the damn Natrazine! There will be no end to your suffering. Go! Show me where to follow me, your hypocrisy! There will be no end to your suffering. That damn Natrazine!
I need to target something first.
You got the last conduit. Make sure to send them over. Lothraxion, this isn't what the light demands of us. Think of the lives that will be lost. Just trust us.
You of them all I thought would understand, Arator. Shame that the Void has corrupted you too.
The console is working. Starting the bridge now.
wish you had lasted a little longer.
I cannot use that avenue. I need to get closer.
Choose to go. I will. You will see the light's wrath. See the light's wrath! The light will cleanse! You will not stop what the light demands!
It's not ready yet.
You will see the light's wrath! The light's wrath! The light will cleanse! You will not stop what the light demands! Will see the light's wrath!
Farewell, old friend.
I am the Blade of the Light.
I offer you my aid. If needed, I will answer the call.
Farewell. So many possibilities. Until next time.
Go.
It's beginning to feel like every brand suddenly has a cafe. From Louis Vuitton to Capital One and Coach.
Thought you would buy me my dream purse.
I'm out of breath.
Was anyone going to tell me that Aritzia has a cafe?
I'm at the Uniqlo store on Fifth Avenue in New York City. It's one of their global flagship locations. And at first you see jeans and shirts when you walk in the store, but go to the second level and you'll see this, a coffee bar tucked away into the corner of the store.
We're trying to make more like a service floor where people can pick up their clothing, repair their clothing, customize their clothing, while also enjoying a great coffee or a great matcha.
I've long said that the easiest way to get in the experience business is to add a cafe because it engages all five senses and it gets customers to spend more time with you.
CNBC took a look at why retailers like Uniqlo are getting into the is becoming increasingly common. But there were some early pioneers of the concept. Barnes & Noble partnered with Starbucks starting in 1993 to introduce cafes in its bookstores. Target also partnered with Starbucks starting in 1999. Over a decade later, both Ralph Lauren and Capital One opened their first cafes in New York City and Boston, respectively.
One thing that we knew from the beginning would be important with cafes was that the environment was very welcoming and that people didn't feel like they were being sold to. And so from the very beginning of the cafes and continuing today, we do not have a sales focus for the Capital One associates who work there.
Capital One told CNBC that it now operates 65 cafes nationally, and Ralph Lauren operates over 40 cafes across the world, in cities like London, Barcelona, Hong Kong, and Singapore. Another early adopter was Aritzia with its A-OK Cafe, which started in 2018 and has scaled to 13 locations. These established players have found a concept that works and are continuing to grow, but the past 5 years has seen a wave of newcomers. Uniqlo, for example, opened its first cafe in Tokyo in 2021. This New York City Uniqlo coffee is the first location in the United States. It opened in March of 2025, but globally the company has a total of 9 coffee shop locations.
The reason to wait until 2025 was really to make sure that we are being recognized as a brand in this market. Now we have a strong base. We can continue to grow and add up new services and to continue to enhance that shopping experience to the US customers.
In 2024, Coach got in on the game too. The brand, which has seen a cultural resurgence amongst Gen Z, saw a revenue increase of 22% in its most recently reported fiscal quarter. Coach opened its first cafe in Indonesia to test the offering. Since then, it has opened 4 in the US and over a dozen more internationally.
The data that's been really fascinating is we're seeing double to triple digit increase in the retail store sales with having a coffee shop from the increased traffic.
The trend has become especially prevalent in the US amongst luxury brands. Over the past few years, fashion house LVMH opened a Dior cafe in Dallas, a Louis Vuitton cafe in New York, and remodeled its Tiffany brand's Blue Box Cafe. Prada, which is not a part of LVMH, is also rumored to be opening a New York location in 2026, after opening cafes in London and Singapore. For higher-end brands, it also presents an opportunity for customers to make a purchase even if they wouldn't normally be able to afford to shop at the store. Sure, a coffee may run you upwards of $9, but that's more of an attainable luxury in stores where 3- or 4-digit price tags are the norm.
We've actually seen a lot of younger customers come in, 13, 14 years old, and we're seeing them be able to experience Coach with some of the money that they may have earned from allowance and be able to have a pumpkin matcha or a chocolate chip cookie. So we see it across all generations, but maybe using it for different ways and different reasons.
And even if you are already buying from Coach, Sanders says that shoppers can afford a cup of coffee a lot more frequently than a handbag. But there are, of course, additional costs associated with this type of venture. Coffee itself has become an expensive product. Volatile weather conditions for coffee growers and, more recently, sweeping US tariffs have sent prices soaring. The companies we spoke to are taking different approaches on operating the actual cafes. Uniqlo and Coach are adding cafes to existing store locations. Capital One, on the other hand, says it's building locations with the cafes in mind, as they take up more space than a typical bank branch. The company then hands off operations to a third party.
We provide the space, but Capital One actually doesn't operate the coffee and food and beverage sales and production in the cafes.
One of the reasons that branded cafe concepts have ramped up over the past few years is in response to post-pandemic changes in the retail landscape.
So COVID had a huge effect because it really decimated the experience economy. And yes, we can still buy any goods that are out there contactlessly. We can have them delivered to our home. And so what does it take to get people to go out to the stores? Right? You need to be able to have experiences that they value. And cafes, again, are the primary way to be able to do that.
When retailers open coffee shops, it can increase their brand exposure, can also drive incremental foot traffic, and keep shoppers inside their stores for longer.
Primary reason for having a Uniqlo coffee in our store is obviously to bring more customers to the store, but also to have an inviting space for them when they come shopping. The interest behind and the concept behind is to make you feel at home, to be part of the brand, to feel the brand, to also spread the Japanese culture because we are a Japanese company.
Capital One's situation is a bit more unique. It's not an apparel retailer, so cafes offer a bit of a different opportunity.
The cafes are meant to be a showroom of Capital One. Bank accounts and credit cards and money are things that don't always feel tangible, and so the cafes can show up as a personification of what is Capital One.
But across all types of companies, cafes create an opportunity for revenue growth in a saturated retail environment.
If you design the cafe to be able to operate it at a profit, and there's no reason today's days and age when the people are paying for coffee that you can't do that, and yet it's a demand generator as well. It gets people to come in. It may get them to make an extra visit every month or every quarter or every year. It may get them to buy more because they've slowed down and they've looked at things.
I think we look at two aspects, right? When we open the Uniqlo coffee, there's one aspect that is making profits, which we are obviously monitoring week over week, month over month. And then the second aspect is really about the customer. And really, the reason why we open this coffee is to really help our customer and enhance their shopping experience.
As more and more brands open their own cafes, the retail coffee concept will become increasingly commoditized.
With something that you need to refresh to think about how you change this over time. And you need to design it uniquely, right? It's not enough like Barnes & Noble originally putting Starbucks in the stores. You have to create your own brand. The Tiffany Blue Box Cafe being a beautiful example of that. So that it's not just about the coffee, it's about immersing you in the brand values, in the brand colors, in what it stands for.
One of Coach's best-selling bags is called the Tabby. It's created a special cake at its cafes to complement the product.
We're looking at changing the color of our tabby cakes like throughout the seasons. We're also looking and working with our product development teams on what are some of the new icons or things that might be coming out as a brand, and then how do we actually turn those into something that our customers can eat or drink.
I do think that brands look at each other and see what they're doing. There is a little bit of a herd mentality going on regarding that. And I think that is the case with the cafes. But I think also that everyone is doing it differently. Everyone that I've seen has their own take on it.
Capital One, for example, makes the experience more rewarding for its banking customers. Cardholders of Capital One and Discover, which it acquired in a $35 billion
I'm with the Browning family.
Where
there is a lot of demand on the energy grid.
Yes.
The price that residents are paying for their energy is going up. Does that resonate with you?
At a personal level, well, there's like two parts. Please don't print this part. There's like, is that okay?
I mean, we'd love to have your honest take. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, that's the one part about it all that I really personally don't care for. So that's just my opinion. That's not the opinion of the city or anybody else.
The next big harm we heard from residents about was the water usage.
They're manipulating our electricity
And taking water.
and taking water.
Teresa lives 18 miles from Corsicana, Texas, where Riot Platforms is building out what is expected to be one of the largest Bitcoin mining operations in the world.
We decided, well, what better place to build a 1 gigawatt site?
Teresa is concerned about Bitcoin's demand for water. Corsicana's mine is projected to use up to 1.5 million gallons of water per day. That's an eighth of the city's water supply. She took us to nearby Navarro Lake, which she says dries up every 4 to 5 years. So this is the lake that you are...
Trinkets and potions, phase 1.
4.
Cheetos. Fiend. Cloaks up. Okay.
I know for a fact I'm not gonna go to jail. Not one day in jail. I'm gonna laugh my off when all these mother are saying I'm going for 30 years, 20 years, 5 years, 10 years. Bro, I'm telling you, I'm not even gonna do 1 day, bro. They're gonna give me a fine. They're gonna say, don't come back to Korea. You're the one who's gonna look so dumb when I don't get any jail time or anything. Like, bro, I'm gonna laugh like a villain.
Johnny